and welcome to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today I have with me Terry Little. He is the host of his own podcast called the Knucklehead Podcast. Knucklehead. So first and foremost, podcaster to podcaster, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This is my first actual outside gig. I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, first of many to come.
Absolutely.
So, as I said in the opening, your podcast is called Knucklehead Podcast. Mm-hmm. And I listened to a couple of the podcasts before the show because I like to prepare and know who I'm dealing with. So It seems like the genesis of the podcast is because you yourself were a knucklehead.
Absolutely.
So share with us what made you a knucklehead. What made you start the knucklehead transition to Knucklehead Podcast?
Oh man, so I figured out that I was a knucklehead at 17, right? Okay. Because I listened to the podcast. I was one of those guys. I didn't find out that my daddy was my real daddy until I was 16. Mm-hmm. The man that raised me wasn't my dad, so I thought, and so I was mad at my mother for a long time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like she betrayed. That was like, for me, the ultimate betrayal. And so when I started dating, I had a baby at 16 or 17. And everybody after that just caught the wrath of me being mad at my mom. Mm-hmm. Even though I couldn't be, I didn't find out till later that I had no business being mad at her because she was 14 when she had me. Mm. But you couldn't tell me that when I was going through. Yeah. And so I just made a mess of life. It was just one mistake after the other. Like I said, I had a baby at 16. I'm sorry, 17. She got pregnant when I was 16. 17. I got married when I was 19 for the first time. I ain't had no business being married. Oh God, it was a mess. But that's another podcast altogether. But so for years, I just compiled mess, lie after lie. Mm-hmm. And so I decided one day, I woke up. This is how I realized it was time for me to change. I was sitting, I woke up one morning on the edge of a hotel bed because I got to the point where I was homeless. I was staying in one of those extended stay hotels. Mm-hmm. And I woke up on the edge of the bed and I said, something has to give here. And before I knew it, 14, 15 years had passed me by. And the whole while, just not knowing how to do the right thing. I just didn't know. Mm-hmm. And I had to figure it out. So I started hanging around with my pastors, Pastor Joseph Graham out of Charlotte, and Sharon Barnett, who's my best friend, who's an apostle now. But it was like, yo, T, come on, man, you got to do better. Mm-hmm. And so I started the process of manhood at about 28, 29.
Wow.
And so one of the first things I had to learn was I had to learn how to forgive myself and then forgive everybody else.
Gotcha.
Or ask for forgiveness because I hurt so many people. Yeah. When I look back after 15 years and seeing the lives I destroyed, the children's lives that weren't mine, even mine, mm-hmm. Children, the lives that I destroyed, and look back 15, 16 years later going, man, I could have done better. Okay. And so I started the process of becoming a man late in life, but I'm here now.
Better late than never.
Yeah. So that's how my best friend, Kenny McNeil, long story short, she was the one. It was her brainchild of the Knucklehead Chronicles. So she says, you a real knucklehead boy. And so at first it was going to be a book. It was supposed to be a written book. And I said, I hate writing because I'm better on the mic than I am on pen. And so that's how we came up with the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast. And there it is.
All right. Well, first, my mistake, because I think I said Knucklehead Podcast, but
it's okay.
Knucklehead
Everybody get that.
Chronicles Podcast. Yeah. So I want to be correct. Chronicles.
It's kind of like a pimp named Slickback. You got to say the whole
That's
thing.
Right. One of my favorite books I read back in college. And my dad still to this day. Why are you reading about pimps? I said because the pimp mindset plays out in so many areas of life.
You better believe it.
That's a whole nother area. So Also, one thing before we get talking today, I want to bring up because I was listening to the podcast before we came to the show, and you mentioned that you're from a small town in
Mhm.
North Carolina. Now, I was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I left when I was 5, so I want to know where you from, where you from, where your
I'm
people be from.
I'm from ACO. I'm from Manson County. So that's
Oh,
about, from Winston-Salem is about, what, 2 hours?
okay,
2.5 hours.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, North Kakalaki to North Kakalaki.
The show. I miss Bojangles. I really do. I miss Bojangles bad. I need to go back there. Gotta have it.
Now, I want to talk today because you mentioned something that is very near and dear to my heart. Now, I've been doing relationship work for the past 2 decades. Now, I'm gonna age myself. I will proudly be 52 this year. Proudly be 50.
No.
Yes, indeed.
The lies you tell. Why are
I
you
have
telling
no.
that lie?
I ain't got no money to give you. I ain't got to be
Off
trying to
off
understand
camera, you asked for me your ID. That ain't right.
you ain't got to be gassing me up.
I ain't
Okay,
gassing you.
you ain't got to be gassing me up. I ain't
I'm
got
right
no.
behind you. I ain't too far
I
behind.
I ain't got no money to give you, but yes, I'll proudly be 52 this year, and I have been doing work with relationships, especially Black relationships, for the past 2 decades now. And it's a issue that's very passionate to me because so many things that we complain about amongst us,
Yeah.
uh, the research is out there. It can be fixed with healthy relationships. When you talk about lowering crime in neighborhoods, creating generational wealth, increasing more children that are coming from homes with completing high school diplomas. All of that happens when you have two-parent households.
Right.
So it's very important to increase the amount of healthy relationships in our community to see the things that we want. So that's why I've been.
Yeah. I hear you.
But
Good call.
but one of the key components is you knuckleheads and getting y'all on board with the process. Okay,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
you can't have the yin without the yang. All
I
right.
hear you. Yeah.
And part of the problem comes from like you mentioned, um, you guys have developed some very toxic, unhealthy
Hmm.
behaviors.
Right.
Um, and I have been blessed. I have truly been blessed as a female, especially a Black female, to
Hmm.
be invited in some arenas with you guys. I'm lucky to be able to sit in the barbershops and listen in when
Yeah.
y'all have y'all
Yeah.
conversations. And brother, let me tell you, y'all
Barbershop
give
talk or something.
y'all give each other some bad advice.
We really do. And that, bad advice comes from people who are not whole.
That's it. Now I want to talk about one of the things that y'all do,
Mhm.
and I want you to help me understand it because
Okay, I'll try.
it happens. I have heard this play out over and over again, whether or not the brother's 20, 30,
Mhm.
50, 60. Y'all say, I want a good woman. I want a woman to be my peace, right?
Mhm.
And at the same time, I watch friends, co-workers, family choose women that are toxic, the women that'll key your car, the baby mama drama, the stalking the social media profile. And I'm looking like, wait a minute, you just said you wanted a woman to be your peace, but you intentionally choose women that are chaotic. So why the
Why the back and forth?
walk is not the talk?
Okay. Can I help you?
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, the views expressed in this podcast are those of Terry. Before I even get started, because there's gonna be some pissed off dudes by the time you're gonna have some inbox. The reason why we say that is it's a cop out, right? It's complete. Can I curse?
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
it's complete bullshit. When they say I want a woman to be my peace, you know nothing of peace because you don't have it. So you can't ask for something you don't know nothing about.
Gotcha.
That's first of all, fellas. A lot of that comes from, like you said, unresolved issues, mommy issues. In my case, some of us are narcissistic, and that's a very toxic trait. When you get with a young lady and you tap into her social media and you following her and bad baby dad, you're being narcissistic. But we go for those type of women because we want something rather than nothing. If that makes sense. We will rather deal with some, and then some of us have self-esteem issues. Some of us believe we can't get that good chick. Some of us can't believe that we don't shoot our shot because we ain't got it. Or we don't think that we have it. You know what I mean? So we settle for anything. But for me, Terry, the reason why I dealt with what I dealt with was because I didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of the men that's walking around here probably in the same boat. They don't know any better, and they just choose to do whatever because they feel like it's normal to them.
Mm-hmm.
When you get with a female, even if she is your piece, because you haven't dealt with your stuff, you're gonna still go out here and do something else because she's not fulfilling to you. Why she's not fulfilling to you? Because you haven't dealt with you yet. You gotta deal with you before you get your piece. See, listen, these dudes want to be a Boaz to these women, and they name Jacob.
Oh, preach, brother, preach.
I'm sorry, fellas, don't be mad. Don't you be mad. I'm just speaking of. I don't teach what I know. I teach what I live. So
Okay.
I know what. Shout out to Pastor Brian McCoy. I know what that looks like, and it took me 15 years before I realized that I was wrong.
Mm.
Don't look back 15 years. Listen to me. I lost both of my daughters. My daughter, Tanika, is now 28.
Mm.
My youngest is 25. I am a grandfather 4 times over. We'll be by the end of the year, be 5. I'll be a 5-time granddaddy. 5 times. But anyways, I lost both of my daughters at one point. They would not speak to me. Why?
Mm.
Because I abandoned them. Why? Because I didn't know what I was doing. Why? Because I was never taught. See, everything goes back to the root.
Okay.
If we get to the root cause of it, see, there's a lot of men that want to admit that they have issues.
Well, that brings me to the point,
Mm-hmm.
because I, not being showing you the geek that I am, but
Mm-hmm.
the research is really out there in
Yeah.
numerous numbers about the lack of Black men seeking mental
Mental
health,
health.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's there's a stigma to it. We recognize that Black men don't want to say, I'm going to go speak to a counselor.
Right.
You can't even get a married Black man to really want to go to couple counseling because he feels like it's some sort of demeaning defeat to himself.
Right.
So, like we said before, most of you guys seek counseling in areas like the barbershop,
Yeah.
talking to the homies,
Yeah.
maybe back in my great grandfather's day, it was a
Mm-hmm.
model or whatever. So something has to happen where we get some healthy help for my brothers.
Right.
Um, where do we start with that?
We have to. You know what? Men, we struggle on a level of pride that's epic.
Mm,
And we don't want to do that because we don't want to sit in somebody's office and have somebody, male or female, tell me I got a problem.
mm,
I ain't got no problem. What's wrong? You got the problem. I'm sitting here paying you, tell me I got a problem. We struggle on a level of pride that's unbelievable. Once we
mm,
decide to get out of that level of pride, once we say, okay, I know I got an issue, and don't let some of us are married, some of us have children, and we're living in this level of pride, and we're
mm,
missing out on the best parts of life because we don't want to deal with the fact that we got an issue. I was prideful for 20 years. You know what humbled me? That park bench.
mm,
And I mean park bench meaning me sleeping on it. That one,
mm,
that park bench, that humbled me to the point where okay, this is enough.
mm,
I was to the point where in my life I had a job. I was working. And because I didn't know how to manage money. And because I was just frivolous with what I was doing, I lost everything.
mm.
Everything. Everything.
Everything.
Because we deal with a level of pride. I ain't no problem. I'm good. I'm
I'm
not
good.
hurting. I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Famous
Yeah,
brother response. No, I'm
yeah,
good.
I'm good. I'm straight.
I'm good.
Stay straight. We as broken as that shattered glass. You
Mm,
know, it, we got to get out of that. That's the first level, getting out of that level of pride and saying, okay, now I have a problem. But it's no different than an alcoholic
mm,
admitting the fact that he has a problem with drinking. Same thing with men. We don't want to admit the fact, okay, I have a problem because the hardest thing in life, in this process of becoming a man, the hardest thing to do is to look in the mirror at yourself and say, I was a liar. I was a cheater. I was a manipulator. I did this. I did that. That's the hardest thing in this process to do for a man because we don't want to do it. because it's easier for us to continue to deal in our mess than to be straight.
Mm-hmm.
Because we feel like if we do the right thing, our brains are going to explode and ooze out of our ears for some reason. And that was me. Again, when I say this, I'm talking about me.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm hoping that what I'm saying and that happened in my life helps somebody that's listening. Don't let your brain explode and ooze out the side of your ears. Success is for everybody.
Gotcha.
You know? But you got to first, you know, what's the saying goes? You have to first admit you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Once you first admit you have a problem, then you can move forward. Until
Mm-hmm.
then, it's a long road.
It's so you would think that some of the light bulbs would click on fast. I'm glad you got it early because I know some 60-year-old brothers still out there, trying to think they moving and shaking and doing the thing. But you would think that now in your issue, in your situation, your life story, you admit you had some issues with your mother. But I know a lot of brothers who, my mom is my angel. My mom is it. I got sisters. I ride or die for my sisters. My daughter is this and that, or my granddaughter, that's my world. But yet they treat women romantically like crap. And I'm trying to figure out, if you have such love and passion and admiration for the women in your family, how do you turn and treat women just run through
because it's narcissistic and fuckboy behavior. That's why they do that. And that's how men that will protect their mothers and sisters before they protect any other woman is, to me, is the lowest of the low. I get it. Family is family. You're supposed to protect them. That's kind of your birthright. You're supposed to do that. But our queens are out here suffering, dealing around. Listen, women ain't got time to be raising you, fellas. They ain't got time for that. They got their own stuff. But men that's like that those are the ones that need the help the most, because they have to understand that everybody in your circle is important and worthy to be protected. If you're not going to protect them, shut your mouth, sit over there in the corner, and leave them women alone. Period. And protect your family. But don't, we got a long way to go.
Long way to go. Well, we need to figure out, we need to sit down and have a team meeting and get a plan, because
you can do it.
It's just really getting more chaotic. And there's certain things in today's society versus like when our grandparents are around that are really complicating the matter. Like I understand that social media is a wonderful thing. It's part of what me and you are going to be doing, and how we're getting our message out there. But when it comes to relationships, social media, I really think is really a hindrance. I like to tell people all the time, part of the reason my grandparents really survived in their marriages, granddaddy left the house at 8 o'clock in the morning, and grandma really didn't have to interact with him until maybe 6, 7 o'clock. There wasn't this constant texting or having to look at his Facebook page, like his pictures while he was gone. I got to miss you for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, and then come back to you. And, oh yeah, this is why I love you. Also, I think really, with this constant stream of visual imagery and like online dating or whatever, and I got options. I ain't really got to commit to you, because, if you don't do something right today, I can go out here and get me another one. But relationships are not like that. Like we are in this. We are planted our feet in this. And like, I always tell my late husband, I used to always roll over and say, you know what? I don't like you today. I love you, but I don't like you. I'm gonna hang around, but I don't really like you today. But we understood that every day I'm not gonna but we in this, and this is the commitment to this. And it seems like with the way the world is today, and what we're seeing, especially with our relationships in our community, everybody's, I'll pass. Okay, this didn't work. And I see people in and out. And it's the concept of soul ties. You cannot connect yourself to that many people and be healthy and try to go on to the next person and have a healthy relationship. And, I just don't, for men, especially Black men, when it comes to this in and out relationship thing, One of the things I hear you guys constantly say when I'm sitting at the spades table quietly with my little hand, waiting to run my little hand down.
First of all, that's not Lizzo the fact that you said quiet at a space table. I don't know how you do that.
Now I sit quietly because whenever I get in with the fellas, I know I so let me sit quietly. But one of the things is, I want a woman, she should submit to me. And I got my little hand, I'm like, but you can't even lead a woman to a pack of bubble gum.
Right.
How is she supposed to submit to you? And it just really, like, I know my grandfather taught his generation of men how to be men, but I'm like, who's teaching y'all to these concepts?
Okay. First of all, they got it wrong. Okay.
Mhm.
Women aren't your submissive toys, right? That's not how this works. And there are a lot of women that are allowing this type of behavior. There are women that are giving boyfriend, husband privileges. And that's wrong. We got to stop that. So as far as for women, we have to start accepting the queen that you are and accepting that you deserve better than that. Men, we're not rooted like that. It's easy for us to just up and go. Because now women, no knock to my queens, but you guys will emotionally invest. Where men, it's slam, slam ma'am, thank you, man. We're trying to get out of here.
Hit it and quit it.
Hit it and quit it. Now it's a bad mentality to have, but yet it's men are going to take time for the woman that they want to be with. They're going to know. If it's taking you, and I'm sure there's some people out there that's been engaged for more than 5 years. I'm not sure how that happens, but anyway, if you're engaged more than 5 years, you need to reevaluate, because a man who wants to be your husband is going to not make you wait 5 years. Okay, and if I may, real quick for the ladies, all of you are women. I mean, all of you are wife material.
All of us.
All, and everybody has individual issues. Got it. But at the end of the day, you guys are all wife material. When a man is looking for you, and when he finds you, you then become his wife. Okay, understand that. I heard that somewhere. Some great pastor said that on one of a live that I saw, and it hit me because there are so many women who are struggling in their identity and knowing who they are, and they're accepting this nonsense from these brothers. Let me tell you something. If women would straighten up and get their stuff together, as far as not accepting this stuff from these dudes will have to, no other choice but to straighten up. Men, especially in today's society, it's hot and cold because they want to get it and get it. They want to get in and get out, and they're looking for the victim that's going to fight them the least. If you run up, if a young man run up on a female, and they got to actually put on some work to get the cookie, I'm out. I can't. I can't. That's where a lot of that comes from, because we don't want to work. The Bible says a man who don't work, don't do what? Come on through here. I'm not going to preach that, but I'm just saying.
You mentioned. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What you're touching on brings up. I do these workshops, Loving Him Better workshops, and they're for women. They're small little workshops, and I start off the workshop with a little interactive exercise where I have a blank picture of a man, and I give the ladies different color pencils, and I ask the lady to pick a body part, color it in, pass it to the left. That lady picks a body part, colors it into the left, and then we do this 3 times, and then I pass it to the left. And I tell the ladies, now this is your new man, this is your new dude that you got, and he's giving you some problems that are expressed by the colors that have been colored in on this worksheet. And so the ladies start reading off the colors, and I tell them, oh, he's emotionally unavailable, he's a cheater, he doesn't help around the house. And then I ask the ladies, well, these problems that you are having with the man, who colored them in? And so the ladies start pointing to each other. And I said, the point of this exercise is to say these things that we are unhappy with as women, the things that we are complaining about, we're reinforcing this bad behavior. We we've taught these men to behave this way. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? So
Yep.
we have to take ownership in the problem. And if we want to fix it, we have to stop. We have to start saying, I'm not going to accept this anymore as a collective, not just because it doesn't help if just Lana does it, says, no, I'm not going to give you the cookie right away. I'm going to wait. And he can go over to Sally and Sue and get it because he's going to, okay, well, you just, all right, I ain't going to mess with Lana, but I got 5 other options out.
That's how we do it. That's how men do it.
So, you brought up that, like, you want the path of least resistance. And if I'm resisting, if I'm standing on standards and principles, you just go to the other woman who's not. So it's a collective community. We want better. And I just have so much pain so many times with women who haven't realized who they are.
That's the struggle.
I just need a man. Any piece of man. But you're unhappy. You're unhappy. You're running behind him, checking his social media to see who he liked and how come he didn't call you back in 5 minutes. And you're unhappy. You're unhappy with a piece of man.
Let me tell you, Reverend Run of Run DMC wrote a tweet spent about 7 or 8 years ago, and he said, "If no one appreciates your presence, give them the gift of your absence."
There you go.
Nobody has time for that. And as soon as my queens come to the idea that I'm a queen, I'm resist. Stand on your principles. Believe in what you believe. If he ain't the one, then he ain't the one. He's gonna go and do it. Because think about it this way: if he goes and finds Sally or Sue or the Becky, whatever her name is, if he's gonna do it before y'all get together, what do you think he's gonna do when y'all get together?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not gonna be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because for men, it's the art of the hunt. This is for some men who are not together, and for some men who haven't come into that manship, it's a hunt for them. This is all this is. I say this all the time. Some men don't want love; they want help.
Mm.
You understand? They don't want love at all. They don't care. They don't care that you're giving them your all. They don't care. And as soon as he show you, because you teach people how to treat you, and if he's and who's that famous poet who's passed away? What was her name? Maya Angelou. And she said, when people show you who they are,
believe them. Believe them.
You can drop the mic right there.
And believe them.
I mean, so women, my queens, we have to come into it. And the same for my kings. We have to come to a place till we first understand that I am a king and I made mistakes. And now I have to either it's like a pig playing in slop. It's the same thing. If you either come to a fruition and say, I want to get out of this pigsty, or I want to move forward and have what God has for me. Mm-hmm. I want my wife for real. Like I want my daughters to love me. It took me 15 years to get it together.
Wow.
15.
Wow.
And and we all know that time is not days or not.
We don't get that back. That's a gift.
It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed either. So 15 years, God gave me a chance to make it right. It was like Groundhog Day for me for 15 years. So don't let it take you 15 years. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Now I want to talk about not having these guys take 15 years. How to start this process of making better decisions. And one of your podcasts, you were talking about Pastor Gray. Now I can go a whole bunch of different directions with this brother.
Yeah. That dude make me sick.
But I'm not. I'm gonna say, like, when I first listened to him before all of the issues, my spirit wasn't really setting well with him. But you mentioned the podcast I caught. You mentioned, I guess he's been caught 3 times now, having extramarital relations. What would be the word? Entanglements, right?
Entanglements. That's Jada's word. I don't know where she came up with that word, but
entanglements, right?
Yeah.
But the last one was he was upset because his wife was not cooking. Right. And that led him on this path of seeking out another relationship.
Right.
Now, I don't want to talk about the entanglement. My issue with this is the vetting process, men and their vetting process.
Mhm.
Because if you know that home cooked meals are important to you in the foundational relationship building process, it seems like this is something he would have in his 10 interview questions.
Yeah,
If you're gonna get hired for this job,
yeah,
where do you see yourself in the future?
right.
Um, what are your team building skills? Do you cook home cooked meals? I mean, it seems like this would have been one of the questions.
Yeah,
So brothers are not well, you're talking about black men today, but
right.
men are not vetting well. Women
Mhm.
are not either, but men are not vetting well, and then you find yourself 10, 15 years later, like, she ain't what I wanted.
Right, right. Well, that's two things to that. One, we're not, the problem is, like you said, to your point, is that we don't set the expectation. If we set the expectation and we go, okay, like you said, 10 questions, like it's no different than trying to get on a group on Facebook. You got to answer those 3 questions where you can gain entry. It's the same thing. We have to set the expectation. If cooking was an issue for him and he wanted that to happen, he should have told her that. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
he did. We don't know what was in that
Mm-hmm.
conversation, but you know, the problem with John Gray is that as a pastor, he was taking on meetings with women parishioners without anyone else in the room, so it was easy. And he still struggled on the physical side, which we all have struggles. But as a
Mm-hmm.
man of God who have been called and have a gift, we're those guys are attacked more. And if you can't, you got to cover all your bases here. That's what happened with
Mm-hmm.
John Gray. But nonetheless, with besides that, um, we have to set the expectation. If you don't like something that she's doing off the rip, you better tell her. Because what you can't do is change the rules in the middle of the game. You can't be with somebody for 10 years and then say all of a sudden in year 8, be like, you know what? I like cheese on my cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not fair to her because she's gonna be blindsided. Now, the pure idiocy that he was doing with his FaceTime that was on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay. So not only did you cheat, and then you're adding insult to injury with this FaceTime with this young lady. I don't know. But fellas, we have to set the expectation. Queens, we have to accept the expectation and set your own expectation because life's too short. And the way
Mm-hmm.
the society is now, we in the middle of a pandemic. Uh, Catfishing has become easier. Social media has become easier. I mean, I can FaceTime. You can get on Tinder. Is Tinder still a thing? I ain't know Tinder. I don't know. But anyways, yeah.
I'm still
But
I'm still open to be at the grocery store looking at some lettuce and hey, there's
hey,
my
yeah,
right
old
there.
school, old school. Go out and meet them. These kids don't even go outside no more to get their chicks. They just go to Tinder and just start swiping. Um,
Mm-mm-mm.
but you know, women have to also be not creating thirst traps too. That's one thing I want to talk about. Not throwing thirst traps. Now, I'm on TikTok as well, and TikTok have a couple of challenges one's called the bust set challenge. You heard about it?
Mm-hmm.
And then now they have the silhouette challenge. That's on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I heard somebody warn women against doing the
You're
silhouette
right,
challenge.
because people are learning how to how to remove. Because when they first started doing it, women were doing the silhouette challenge naked, and so people will learn how to remove the red and exposing these pictures on the internet.
Wow.
So you gotta be careful. Let me point you guys towards something real quick. You remember the inauguration on
Mm-hmm.
January 6th? Remember Michelle Obama? Okay. Remember what she had on?
She was fly.
Shut the internet down.
She was fly.
And the
Fully
only thing
clothed.
you saw were her eyes.
Fully
You know what
clothed.
I'm saying? So you don't have to do all of that. I mean, it's social media. You want to go viral. You want to get your likes and your views. Like, understand. But when you're doing stuff like that, but you want a man. If you busting in front of your 18,000 followers, you know, it,
How does he know what he's getting is special if everybody else is seeing
exactly, exactly. You give it away for free. And don't get me started on OnlyFans. I did a podcast about OnlyFans. Why I queens on OnlyFans?
Cause Beyonce talked about it in I'm a Savage.
She did. Didn't she? Classy, bougie, that shit. Yeah, she did. Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
I mean, the generation today,
It's
and
crazy.
unfortunately, you really have to fight the messages that are sent to you
You do.
because, you've got these young girls thinking that it's okay to be talking about WAP and all of that stuff, and I'm not saying, hey, I grew up on some Rick James and stuff like
Yeah.
that, so I
Three
mean,
Six Mafia.
you know
Yeah.
what I'm
Stuff like
saying?
that.
So,
Yeah.
so I mean, I understand, but it's just so blatant and in your
Yeah.
face and demoralizing and
Yeah.
unhealthy, and you know, it it just really doesn't celebrate the beauty of
It
who you
doesn't.
are as a woman to, or we're putting it out there, kings
It's
and
like,
queens.
yeah. It's
A
sending the wrong.
man,
It's sending the wrong picture. It's sending the wrong picture to our women that
yes,
it's
indeed.
okay that you can bust it on TV or camera and you're gonna snag your bow ass. No,
Hmm.
you're not. You're um. What was that one life coach? I don't want to talk about him. I can't think of his name. He went viral when he told that girl because the young lady that called in, she wanted a 6-figure dude, and he was telling her that she couldn't get a 6-figure dude because she was average herself. I was like, what was that dude's name? I think it was his name. We talked about him. I did a podcast on him too.
Hmm.
Um, don't let nobody undermine your shine.
Hmm.
If you were 7, if you know you look in the mirror and you 7, and you were 8 when you cleaned up, that's you stay strong in your 8. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody tell you I can't have whatever. That goes for men and women.
Hmm.
But it's all about everything starts with self. Everything, and after that, it becomes choice. You're not just given a hand and say, here, take that and run with it. You have a choice to change your hand. It's like when you play blackjack in a casino.
Hmm.
If you got, well, not blackjack, but poker, and you playing 7-card draw, and you get those 7 cards, you're like, I want none of these cards. Give me all them again. And so what do? You change your hand to get a
That's
better
right.
hand. That's what we have to do in life. We
That's
have to
right.
turn those cards in and be like, okay, now I want a better hand. Now I'm gonna run with it.
Yes,
You know,
process becoming a victim to a
gotta
victor.
stop. Gotta stop.
Now, before I got one more question, and then we're
Sure,
gonna get out of here because, oh yeah, I've taken up a lot of your time today.
that's all right.
Um, Speaking from experience, one of the
Yes,
things that we have that's really common today is blended families.
yes.
Okay,
I speak for
uh,
you.
and it's not always the easiest process. So you find yourself in the dating environment these days, and you think you're dating a man or a woman, but you're now dating maybe two baby daddies and five kids or four kids or a baby mama, and so you're dating multiple people now.
Yeah.
Um, if you could, from personal experience, what makes blending families easier or more difficult or just whatever?
Again, I think it's about setting expectation, right?
Okay.
So when you get into it, um, because I'm a baby's father, and I would like when my baby was younger. She's grown now, but when she was a baby, and her mother was dating, I would always want to meet the guy that she's dating
Mm-hmm.
responsibly. I mean, nothing crazy, because I just want to see who can be around my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men are like that. A lot of men want to see who is going to be around, especially if you don't, if you're not going to be in the daughter's life full time. You want to meet who her mother's dating. So the situation has to be right. The mother has to be on point. As long as the baby daddy ain't still. See, here's the problem. The problem is a lot of these baby daddies still smashing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why it gets tricky for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh, who is this dude? Somebody, because he's still smashing. Still
Mm-hmm.
smashing, still getting the cookie. And, because baby daddies always feel like their baby mamas will always be theirs.
Always an avenue, yes.
Lies. Lies, complete lies. I'm not sure where I get that from. But
He's like, I
and,
can't get none.
and we would be perpetrating it. You must be perpetrating it anyways. But the situation is tricky. It's tricky because it then becomes a personal choice if you want to deal with that kind of thing. If you're with a woman and she has 2 or 3 baby daddies, first of all, you might want to question what she's doing. You know what I'm saying? So it raises a lot of questions, more questions than answers, right? And so it's about at the end of the day, it's about choice. Do you want to deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
Even with dealing with people individually, every person on this planet that's walking has a level of crazy, right? Everybody. So it's about finding that person with the level of crazy you're going to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be, it's a situation to where you have to look at it from all angles.
Mm-hmm.
Do the baby daddy and this baby mama have a weird relationship? Is he still calling? I mean, so it raises up more questions than answers. Now, speaking from experience, my mother, my wife, what's your mama? My wife has 2 kids. Zariah and Javante, loved them. My wife is Caucasian. You guys know that. My wife is Caucasian, so my babies are mixed. I have a 3-year-old son who's autistic and nonverbal. So when I first got with her, it was easy because her baby daddy wasn't in the picture at all. So it was easy.
Okay.
So it's about the situation is depends, and you have to question everything because you never know. Because if baby daddy's still smashing, you're gonna have issues. You know, the expectation, be upfront, be honest with it. If that's what's going down, tell them that's what's going down. Yeah, we still smash on the weekends. Tell them that. I hope not. That's crazy. You know,
They're like, do you really want to be? Why are you in that relationship? You know, but then that brings.
You never know. There are people that's done it. I've seen it. I've seen my cousins did that. I know.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know, I mean, that brings to, you know, some of the conversations I have with men is, you know, they really struggle with this issue of if it's natural to be monogamous and it's not really, you know, so we should be able to go out there and pursue whatever, whenever, because it's not natural to have just one woman, you know. So
justification for being a fuckboy. That's that. No.
I'm just telling you what I heard while I was quietly at the space table.
All those cats that say that I mean, it's all well and good in theory. It sounds good coming out of your mouth, but let's be real about this thing. If a woman did that, if your woman, she said, "Okay, baby, you can have your, let me have mine." We ain't gonna feel that way. We're not gonna keep that same energy partner. That's not what she brings home 2 or 3. And you got your 2 or 3 on the side too. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna have that same energy. We're not. You know. So that whole it don't feel natural. Crap. That's crap. BS from the pit of hell. Send it back to where it came. That's crazy. Don't know.
Yeah, I used to. I have a good friend from Kenya, and you know, it's not too far removed that it was in their culture for Kenyan brothers to have more than one wife. So I used to always tease him. I said, "Well, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna get me 3 or 4 husbands." He said, "Culturally, you would cause a lot of men to kill each other because that it doesn't work that way. The dynamic of Kenyan culture does not allow for a woman to have more than one man." But
see, sex in society, really? That's how it's going to do it? No, not going to work. And he's probably right, and that you probably cause a lot of men to kill each other, especially if you got that. If you got that fire, you got that soul snatcher 3000. I'm just saying.
Now, on that note, Terry, we're gonna do the random question of the day.
Let's do the random question of the day. Let's do that.
Then we're gonna talk about the Knucklehead Chronicles.
Yeah, that's
podcast. Where you talk more about Pastor Gray and
man,
Knucklehead stuff. And I heard you giving the young ones some lessons on one of the podcasts.
Yeah,
we're gonna see what the random question is here.
Random question. I like random questions. They're scary though.
This is the easy one.
Okay, good.
If you could pick one celebrity to have lunch or dinner with, who would it be?
This is a trick question. Somebody's gonna tag her in this. Regina King.
Oh, Westchester High, my girl, LA.
Regina King. That is my crush, Lord Jesus.
I have watched her grow up since my early days in LA. She's just really blossomed into a beautiful queen.
Yeah, she has. And she did an excellent job on that movie,
One Night in
Miami. I have not got to see it yet because I don't have Amazon Prime. Why? Because I can't afford it. But when I get it, I'm kidding. I can't afford it. But I heard this was a great movie.
Yeah,
need to check it out. Regina King. Give me another one. That was easy. Give me another one.
Another one?
Yeah, that was easy. That was too easy. Give me another one.
Let's see what we got.
Let's see what we got.
Let's see what we got here. Which is better, cats or dogs?
Which are better, cats or dogs? See, and it's funny. It's a simple question, but it's hard though. It's like I like cats because they don't really poop in the house like that.
They're very
They're in
independent.
that little box.
They're very independent.
Very very clean. I love their soft fur, and they like to purr when they come around and all that. Some say cats.
Mm-hmm.
Some say cats. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm a cat owner, so there you go. You score points.
Absolutely.
So Terry Little, please tell us how we get to, because you actually go live and all of that stuff.
Yes.
How do people connect with you for the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast and get more information and talk to you? You're looking for a guest or something? I'm assuming?
I'm always looking for guests to
Okay,
come on to the show. I got to get you. I got to return the favor and get you.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to get on there and run my mouth.
Oh yeah. So you guys can follow me. Go to the website, the Knucklehead. See, it's all one word. Knucklehead Chronicles Podcast across social media. .com. That's the website. You can go see past episodes, guests. I've even got a nice little merch store on there as well. I do go live on Facebook on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's my group panel that I have, me and the gang do on Sundays. I do my own solo podcast. I kind of just do it. I don't have a set day that I do that, but you can follow that podcast all across all platforms. I'm actually on Amazon and Pandora. So if you're sitting at the house one day listening to some Ray Charles on Pandora, go ahead and pop in there. Knucklehead Chronicles, you can catch it. And if you got an Alexa at the house, say, Alexa, play the Knucklehead Chronicles podcast, and it'll be my last episode for you. So, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So I hope for your first experience being interviewed on
great.
somebody else's podcast,
it
wasn't so bad.
Yeah, this was fun. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing some of the secrets. I always, like to let the brothers know I appreciate you. Let me sit in the corner at the barber shop and
in the corner.
just listening in.
I appreciate you. Man, this was fun.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We'll have to connect again. I really
sure. Oh, I'm gonna be reaching out like, hey, I need you on my show.
I'll be there, but I heard I like to speak voice to things. I heard that this was actually supposed to be a book, so I hope we circle around and
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to go. I hate writing. I might get somebody.
That's all they got the voice record. We did the voice record.
You know what?
And it translates to the thing, so you ain't got no excuse. Excuses are for the weak and feeble.
No, that's right. You're right about that. So I can transcribe it. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Good idea.
All righty. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.
Thank you.